Hello and welcome to the final task I'm sending you in week 2. I hope week 2 has been going really well for you so far and that you have spent this week making the list of the roles that you play and using Wednesday's prompts to delve into how you feel about those a little bit more. Now, we started off in week 1 with the personal honesty around how you want life to look, and this is intended to build on it, giving you the opportunity to get even more honest with yourself about how you interact with people around you. Today's task is quite a meaty one. I encourage you to set aside about 40 minutes to do the task. Today's video should be about 5 minutes. And we are going to be getting into what guilt and shame look like in the roles that you play. Now, these things are very uncomfortable to feel and potentially even more uncomfortable to talk about and think about. That's why they have so much power. I'm a big fan of the work of Brené Brown, and in her book, The Gifts of Imperfection, I think she puts it really well when she talks about what guilt and shame really are. So guilt tends to be an external thing along the lines of I did something bad. And shame is more internal, I am something bad. So depending on the kind of situation, relationship, the stories we tell ourselves, the situations we found ourselves in life, we may be feeling one or the other or both about a certain situation. And I think that guilt is one of the big things that holds us back from having the life that we want, the boundaries we want, being able to prioritise as we want, loads of things that, as you probably know by now, are coming up later on in this course. So this is intended, as I say, to build on the honesty we've got and to give you a sense of uncovering some of the more murky aspects of how we feel about these relationships. I like the word murky because I don't think it's that shame and guilt are bad, but I think they are uncomfortable and they are sort of a murky, deep down part, and we often squash these down. But squashing these down doesn't mean they go away. I believe it gives them more power. The harder it is to talk about them to people, the more power they have over us. Because I always say that when we shine a light onto the difficult things, or if we bring it to the surface and look at it, as we're going to do with this task, then things start to have less power over us, and we can perhaps recognise them when they come up, begin to laugh at them a little bit, or just sort of let them go. So today's task is intended for you to look at maybe 1, 2 or 3 relationships and situations that you've made a list of where you think there's some element of guilt or shame here. Okay, they may be obvious to you. As you go through your life, you may have times where you feel, I just feel guilty all the time about how much or how little I do or I'm able for. It might not be that obvious, okay? You might find that the prompts give you an idea of where it's showing up for you. And you'll see on the worksheet when you click onto the link that I have provided an example. Now this is not because I enjoy bearing my soul particularly, but because I recognise this isn't easy and I think it's only fair for me to go through the process with you. So I'll quickly talk you through what the worksheet is about. If you have any questions, you know you can get in touch as well. So there are prompts for what is the relationship, and where do guilt and shame come up? And then we're starting to get quite specific, okay? Things that you might not have thought about. What does it physically feel like if you feel guilt or shame in that situation? Okay, and you can see my examples are around sweaty palms, my stomach dropping, my heart racing, having difficulty hearing what's going on because I'm so focused on the feeling. What are your thoughts like? What's the self-talk saying? Is it nasty and destructive? Is it telling you that you're useless? Are you recognising this is guilt in that moment? Write it down, because when you get really specific about these things, it's easier to identify next time. What triggers this? Now this is a huge one. So do you know? Do you need to wait until next time? Can you maybe have an educated guess? Do you think that there's a certain thing that comes up time and time again that sets you off? Write it down. What's realistic in that moment? What can or can't you do? And what's the alternative to the self-talk around the situation? So as you can see, for me, the self-talk is about my worth. I can turn that around and I can say that the money I make isn't my worth, my productivity isn't my worth, and I'm doing the best I can. Every day I take steps to move myself forwards. In the moment, that's not how I think, but that's more true than the stories my self-talk throws out when I'm caught up in the moment. And also, I think lastly, one of the most important things, what practical action can I take rather than simply waiting for this to strike again? So, like I say, it's not the most fun thing for us to think about, okay? But I think it's really important. So, have a look at the worksheet, either in the Facebook group or by email or by Instagram message. Shout me if you have any questions, but get in there, shine a light into these awkward, murky places and see what comes up, because I can guarantee you that when we start to talk about these things and think about them, it'll have that little bit less power over you. I'll pop up again in your inbox on Sunday with the feedback email, and then on Monday to start week 3. I hope you have a great weekend, and just shout if you've got any questions.